feels amazing. In fact, when my publishers told me, I didn't think that I'd heard the message right. Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect to have a book, especially about a controversial subject, to appeal to so many in a country that's traditionally very religious. But I think people just respond to characters, and I'm really happy about it. I'm loving it. We arrived at night, and the first morning I woke up in a room overlooking Ipanema Beach, and it was about 5:30 in the morning, and I should have gone back to bed, but I opened the curtains and I was just like, I couldn't stop looking. It was so beautiful, and I love the vibe, and I love everybody's been so friendly. I got kissed 200 times at a signing yesterday. Mm-hmm. English people don't do that at a book signing. They might go, I quite like your book. But Brazilian people, they kiss you, they hug you, they want to tell you what it means, and that's lovely. For me, all good stories thrive on tension, and so when you're a writer, you're always looking at ways to introduce tension between your characters. And there's only 2 books, I think, where that dynamic occurs, The Rich and the Poor, which is Me Before You and 1+1. But I am interested in when you have 2 very different people, whether it's from different financial backgrounds or outlook or class. In England, we are still very heavily determined by class. And then what happens when people are actually forced to confront someone else's opinion, someone else's point of view, especially today when I think more than ever we are all entrenching in our points of view. Me Before You was a very easy one for men to read because Will was such a strong character, and a lot of men found it very easy to identify with him. He was not an object of pity despite his circumstances. He's very funny, he's sharp, he's quite rude, quite sexy. So I think because the covers have changed as well, they're not so feminine as a lot of women's commercial fiction. There's just a lot more men reading them, but I get the same feedback as I get from women. I would love to say no, but yes, I probably am. When I told my best friend I was coming here, she said, and now you're about to discover that you're actually Latina, because I have, at home, I'm the one who's yelling and laughing or crying or rolling around with the kids, and they all look at me like I'm quite embarrassing because they're all quite cool. I'm the least cool member of my family, yeah. Traditionally in England, and I can't speak for the Brazilian market, but women's writing has definitely been pushed into the more commercial and with very little literary respect. You don't get reviews in the newspapers generally, and I think one of the things that was really lovely for me was that Me Before You was reviewed in the New York Times, and people took it seriously, I think perhaps because of the subject matter. As far as the initiative goes, I think it's probably a good idea. I would hate to think though that, I don't know, I'm torn, because on one level, I just want everybody to read everything. But I do think that women possibly get underrepresented in the literary pages, and anything that helps people read more widely has got to be a good thing. I guess in terms of feminism and literature, I'm more interested in what's in the book than whether you can persuade somebody of either gender to read it. This is so hard because it changes all the time. I suppose the book that I return to again and again and again is, I probably read it about once every 5 years, and I'm very old, so that's a lot of readings. It's called National Velvet by a woman writer called Enid Bagnold, and it got made into a film with Elizabeth Taylor back in the 1940s, and it's about a girl and a horse who run a very big race in England called the Grand National. And I read the book, and the thing that really struck me is it's very funny for its time. It was written in the 30s. It's very subversive, so it shows family life being quite unsentimental, and it has people behaving how people behave in real life, but most importantly, it has at its heart a girl who wants to make a great sporting achievement, and her mother, who also in her previous life had achieved a sporting greatness, facilitating her to do it. And it made me think, in girls' literature now, everything is pink and glittery, and what I have from the 1930s is a book about two women helping each other to sporting greatness, and now that feels more radical than some of the literature we're putting out now. But it's also just a great read. The first thing is read. Lots of people come to me and they say they want to be a writer, but they don't have time to do any reading. That's not going to work. You have to read so that you look at why books work for you and what is working about them. And the second thing you have to do is write every day. You have to, if you have no time, then you have to make time. Get up half an hour earlier and do 500 words before you go to school or before you go to work. I do it. I hate it. Every morning the alarm goes off at 10 to 6 and I want to kill somebody, but it means that you have an hour in which to do a little bit of extra before your brain fills up with all the junk of the day.